Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. Today I bring you a reading journal update for the month of March. So earlier this month, I filmed a mid-month reading journal update for the first part of March. I had already read about 6 books and I figured it was going to be a pretty big reading month for me, so I decided to split that into 2 videos. So if you haven't seen that first part, you might want to go there first. I'll go ahead and link that up above. And if you have been caught up, or if you just want to continue seeing what I read in the second part of March, then you can go ahead and continue with this video. So I'll go ahead and start updating the books I read this month. So far, I have the first 6 books that I read in the month of March. I will now update that with the second set of books I read for the month of March. I was able to read a total of 6 more books. I read Spy Family 2 on my Kindle, so I'm not showing you that, but I will show you the other books that I did read. Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterrica. This is a Love Story by Jessica Soffer. 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered. Bibliophile by Jane Mount. And Listen to Your Sister by Nina Veal. For my complete thoughts and opinions on these books, you can go ahead and check that out on my March wrap-up video, which I went ahead and posted yesterday as of when you're seeing this video. So go ahead and check that out for my complete thoughts. So I'll go ahead and update the next 6 titles with the author and the rating, and I'll go ahead and speed you up a little bit so you can watch me doing that. Alright guys, so I went ahead and updated this. As you guys can see, Listen to Your Sister was sadly a 1 star. 101 Books to Read Before You're Murdered, 5 star. Spy Family 2, 4 star. This is a Love Story, 5 star. Bibliophile, 4 star. And Tender's the Flesh, 4.5 stars. For a grand total of the 12 things I read in this month of March. So now it's time for us to color a little bit for the Goodreads challenge. So I'll go ahead and get my set of markers for that. And again, I have talked about my supplies before, but in case this is your first time watching, just want to recap a little bit. For these, I am using the Papermate Flare that has the flare tip on one side, but then it also has this beautiful brush on the other side. So that's what I will be using for these. So my book 23 is Listen to Your Sister, which is a horror book. So I'll go ahead and grab my horror one and mark that. Next, I read 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered, and that is a nonfiction. Then Spy Family 2. Then I read This is a Love Story, which is a love story. I really wouldn't categorize that as a romance. So I'm going to go with literary fiction, which is mostly what I think that book counts as. And then we need another nonfiction. For bibliophile. Then Tender is the Flesh is a dystopian horror. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off as horror. And that's pretty much it. We have now updated this and we're ready to move on. So I'm very quickly going to check if I completed any readings of my 25 and 25. And I don't believe that I did. So we're going to keep going. Are there any updates in the 24 of 24? I see one right here. Okay, so Tender is the Flesh needs updating. So I did rate this 4.5 stars. So I'll go ahead and mark that. Those are my 4 stars, and then I'll do this side right there. And I have made a little bit of progress with this one. Let's go back and kind of check. So I've read 1, 2, 3 of my 25 and 25, and I have read 2 of my 24 and 24. Not bad. Let's see if I've read any from my 23 leftover books. So just 1. Nothing to update here. All right, and now it's the ABC challenge page. So again, I'll go ahead and fill in those titles as I can, and I'll speed you through this part. All right, and that's the update for the ABC challenge. Clearly, I feel like there's certain letters that are getting full really quickly, my S and my T, but then there's other letters that I am completely missing some stuff. So again, I don't do these challenges purposefully. I kind of just do what I can throughout the year by filling in everything I'm actually reading without paying any attention to this. And then maybe the last month or 2 of the year, I purposely pick a couple things to fill these in if I can. So now it's time for our shelfie. So I'll go ahead and color in the titles onto my shelfie, and I normally like to pair up the color of the spine with the color of the book. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do that now. I'll speed you through that so you can watch me update this page as well. All right, and that is the updated shelfie with the 6 new titles I was able to read in the latter portion of March. So now we're gonna get into our Buzzword reading challenge. So as you can see here, I have quite a few of those words that I've been able to fulfill. I don't think I had any truth and lies this time around. I don't think I had anything that had the word thing in it. Animals, 2 and 2. Memory words. with events. Violent words, I definitely think we have some. So I think we're going to do this one for that. Never or alliteration, I don't think I have. So I'll go ahead and put this one down for violent words. I think that constitutes as a pretty violent word. And we'll go ahead and put that one right over here. These were some of my ideas, but that's been taken care of with this one. So I'll go ahead and erase some of those ideas. And I love that pre-planning part of it too, because I think there has to be some conscious decisions if you're trying to complete this particular challenge instead of picking one book over the other. And I usually try to see if any of the books that I have in the 25 for 25 or 24 or 23 leftovers fulfill these challenges, so everything can kind of work together and complete multiple challenges at once. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one. And again, everyone does these challenges differently. It's all for fun, right? So some people like doing them monthly, like in January they like reading a book that's truth and lies. In February they like reading a book with water words, but I kind of just like a more organic kind of approach to it. As I am reading different things, I'm fulfilling my various challenges, and I find that that works well for me. I love the concept of planning and I love the concept of a TBR, but I also enjoy being able to have fun with my reading and read things when I want to read them. And I wanted to read this to fulfill the Christie challenge in January, but it was an April word. So I just kind of allow myself the room for that. There's no real rule for this, you kind of just do whatever makes you happy. And this is what makes me happy. So let's see if there's any pattern or skyline. I think I have something with books. I think this same one again. I think this is a book in its hand, so I think that one works. Animals or eyes. I think also the bibliophile one works for this one, so let me go ahead and pull that. I think these two work beautifully for that. Perfect. And then I don't think I have any others of these. Transportation, monochrome, food or drink, weapons. Foliage I did have, but I already have two for this, so it's kind of full already. All right, so it looks like we were able to, in March, read two things with books on the cover. So that one lined up precisely with the correct month. So that's cool. So we'll go ahead and put this one here. And both of these nonfiction anthologies were absolutely wonderful to read this month. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do gush about them in my monthly wrap up because they were just so, so good. All right, so let's erase a little bit of these leftover things here. All right, so looks like we updated our covers. Let's move on. So nothing to update here. I still haven't read Tiny Threads, but I will. It's on my TBR. So now we're going to look at the Rainbow Challenge and see if any of these count. So I think I didn't read anything yellowish per se or orangey. I think gray we can count one of the Scary stories to tell in the dark. I think that counts as a gray. Because all of this is gray right here. So I think I'm gonna go with that one. Silver, purple, pink, fuchsia, yellow, and orange. Nope. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and do the gray. All right, and we're gonna put this here for the gray. And then I'm going to grab the little sticker and kind of place that one here as well. And there we go. So we only have 6 more of those to complete. Put this in here. All right, so the TBR jar, I have, spoilers, made some progress here. As of when I'm filming this, we are in the first week of April, and I've already read my first book of April. Actually, I've read 2 books in April already, believe it or not. And I read this already. I'm not updating it right now simply because I'm going to wait till halfway through the month to kind of update halfway point if I have enough. If not, you'll see another one of these at the end of the month, but you get the sneak peek information that I have completed this. So that means I will be pulling from my TBR jar in one of my upcoming videos. All right, so for the book troop, I have read January and February, and I did read the March selection, which unfortunately only got a 1 star from me. So I will be updating that. It's been my least favorite selection so far. Now in the month of April, I will be reading Tell Me What You Did. And I've seen a lot of positive reviews for that one online already, believe it or not. So I'm excited. I think it will be a good one for me. It sounds like something I'm interested in. So I think that one will be good. All right, let's move on. The Literally Dead Book Club. Haven't caught up with the February one yet. March, I have started, not done yet with it, but I will be finishing that book now in March. And I will also be trying to read The Inheritance, which is the April book. No updates on my Read Christie challenge. So far, we're kind of stuck with just 1 for the year, but I will be playing catch up, hopefully this month, in my very ambitious month. Have not read the TBR tarot card game selection yet, but I will. There are some updates with the blurb game, so let's update that. I did finish reading Listen to Your Sister, and that is sending me to The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead, which hopefully I will read soon. And then more updates. I have read 101 Horror Books to Read Before You Are Murdered, and that is sending me to The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. So I hopefully will be reading that soon. No updates with these just yet. All right, so the blurb game is all caught up. Let me just double check real quick that I've updated this as much as I can. So this one's on there updated. This one doesn't really have anything to update with. This one's already updated with Cabin at the End of the World. And I can actually update this one. So we'll look at that right now. Let me just double check the last one. Okay, guys. So it seems like I am able to add something for the blurb game. So since I will be updating it, let me give you a refresher in case this is your first time watching these videos of mine. So the blurb game is another fun little thing I like to do whenever I read a book that has been blurbed. by an author that I currently have on my bookshelves as a part of my TBRs, I add them to my blurb game, and that bumps up that book to my TBR further up on my TBR. So as I'm seeing here now, one of the authors, my ring light is not letting you see that. So one of the authors that blurbed this is Liz Moore, who is the author of The God of the Woods and Long Bright River, which both of those things are on my TBR. And I think I'm going to pick The God of the Woods and bump that up on my TBR because I've been so excited for that book. And this is just something that I like doing because it helps put something that's already on my TBR, which I have so many things on my TBR, as I'm sure you do. And it just kind of helps me bump up something that I've already been excited to read higher up. And it helps me fulfill some sort of game or challenge, which is something that I love. And it helps me complete my reading journal updates. And it's just little things that I like doing for fun. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one. So I'm going to need two of them. The way this works is I'm going to need two. So I'll pick out two of these. And I'm going to create one for This Is a Love Story. And we'll go ahead and I'll give myself room down here for this. So this is going to go here with a new book, and it's going to yield connecting to this one. And I read This Is a Love Story so quickly, guys, that I didn't even have a chance to jot down anything for it for the blurb game. I explained it in my wrap up as this fever dream, my experience reading that book, because I loved it so much that I read it in one sitting, and it was just absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to write down This Is a Love Story. And it's by Jessica Soffer. And I will now be highlighting that because I did complete it. It's just I read this so quickly that I didn't even have a chance to add it to my blurb game. And I'm going to draw an arrow toward this way because it's going to take me to the next thing that I want to read, which is The God of the Woods. We're going to underline our title and put our author's name there. And I'll go ahead and highlight this. All right. And let me clean this a little bit. Highlighter crazy. Okay. So now this is something new that has entered. And then just so you understand, I'll look at The God of the Woods. And if that was blurbed by any book that I have on my TBR, I'll go ahead and add it this way and thus continue. I don't think that's going to be the case because the version of this book that I have is a Book of the Month one. And Book of the Month, sadly, their versions of the books, their editions of the books don't have any blurbs. So unfortunately, whenever I do read a Book of the Month version, it doesn't have that, so it doesn't really work for the blurb game. But still lots of fun, still bumps certain things up. I never would have bumped up The God of the Woods onto my TBR had it not been for this. Like, that's one of those that would have kind of stayed there. And it's a book I'm actually really excited about because everyone loves it. And that's a reason for me to have now bumped it up a little bit. So that's why I enjoy these little games. Awesome. So now we get to look at when these books that I just finished reading were published. So we're going to update that. And so what I like doing is I put a little post-it note in the front of the book when I'm reading, when I'm able to look at the date and the setting. And if I find, as soon as I find that information, I just prop it on here to ease this process of mine. So we'll go ahead and start with This Is a Love Story. And it's from 2025. As you can see, I have read 2025, one book here. So we're going to go ahead and add it over here. And that's like a baby blue kind of cover. Again, I like matching them a little bit. Not that it matters at all. But I just like doing this. And for these, I'm using these highlighters, the Sharpie S Note. Love these. They're lovely. And my go-to kind of black pen for a lot of these things is the Stabilo .88. It works really well. These are wonderful for this. They don't bleed. They're thick enough, but not too thick. So I'm going to write down 2025 again. So just by looking at this, I know I've read 1, 2 books already from 2025. So next is 2017. So I'm going to look for 2017, and I have not read anything from 2017. So wonderful. That has the light pink on her shirt, so I think I'm going to do light pink. And then move on to the next thing. So this one is from 2023. So I already have a 2023, so I'll go ahead and add a 2023 down here. A brand new 2023. There we go. Then we'll look at this one. This is a 2018. Yay, I don't have a 2018. That makes me happy. So we'll get a blue, a darker blue, to mark down 2018. And then Listen to Your Sister, which is a 2025. So we got to add another 2025 onto there. And I'll use like that bright yellow from the title. And this will be 2025. And we are updated. Scavenger Hunt Game. Still have not read this. Still haven't read The Lion Game. It's on the TBR. So Read with Jenna. There was an update. I did not yet read The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, but I did read This Is a Love Story. So I will go ahead and update that. So I did give this 5 stars. So I'll go ahead, and so far I've been very interested in all the Read with Jenna books. I actually have to check what the April selection is. So that's normally what I do. I check to see if the book that this book club has for the next month is of interest to me. If it is, I'll add it and I will make an attempt to read it. If it's not of interest to me, I just kind of skip that month. That's kind of what has been happening with the Reese's book club. So I was interested in the January one. Sadly, that was a DNF for me, so I did not complete that. And then I believe February and March were not books I was interested in picking up. So now I will go ahead and check April and see if it's something that gets on my radar, and we'll update middle of the month for that. So let's just quickly see if I've read any more of my Kindle Unlimited reads. So I'm currently working on Real Account Volume 6, but I have not finished it yet. It's something I'm in the middle of actually, but I'll go ahead and add it simply because I will be reading that. And again, I do add a lot of them as I find them or as I'm reading them or as I'm progressing through series, but these are kind of the ones that have been on that TBR for a while. So I won't check it off just yet because I'm not done, but I'm sure mid-month or at the ending of this month, whenever I update this, we will see some progress there. Oh, and these are the Pilot Rolling Ball Precise V7, and these colors are beautiful. These came in a set like this, and I love them. I love these colors. This is like a perfect shade of lilac. I have not yet read Never Have I Ever, but it is on the TBR. These are my anticipated reads, which I have not really been keeping up with simply because I have so many books, guys, on my physical TBR. I keep hauling new things, and I'm trying to not even get new things on my radar as far as things that are coming out, but I will eventually cave in and update this a little bit. So for the Midnight Society Book Club, I have not yet read this, and the next book after that is a May selection. So for next month, The Unworthy by Agustina Basterrica, the same author of Tender as the Flesh. So I'm very excited about this because I ended up loving Tender as the Flesh. Speaking of Tender as the Flesh, my bestie book club, we did finish Tender as the Flesh, so I'm going to go ahead and update that. Let's update this one. And I did give this 4.5. And we have already picked our next selection for this year. And it is something that's already on my radar for another book club. And it is something I have started reading already. You Are Fatally Invited. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to this as well. My best friend and I usually try to pick a book that's of interest to both of us. We like to keep the topics a little bit different. This was a mystery. This was a dystopian horror. Now we're going for a murder mystery, and we kind of switch it up. But my best friend is great, so she'll usually pick something that's already on my radar to help me complete my challenges because she actually does watch my videos. So I feel like she's not always being fair because she's trying to help me meet my challenges or whatnot, but we still have a great time with whatever book we end up picking. So yeah, that's the next one on our list. So next we have the Read Around the World challenge. So I did read a lot of nonfiction and like short story things that I can't really use for this, but let's see what we have. So Listen to Your Sister was actually set in Florida, but I believe I already have a Florida. Yep. Word Hunter was also set in Florida, so I already have a Florida taken care of, so we can't really use that one for anything. The Bibliophile, not using that because it's nonfiction, and 101 horror books to read, can't use that one either. Tender as the Flesh is difficult because it is a South American country, and I want to say it's Argentina because the author's from Argentina, so I'm not really sure. I'm kind of torn. I think I'll go ahead and add it for Argentina simply because at least it has the author rep, and I don't really do author reps. I do it based on setting, but since it is in a Hispanic or South American country, we would be okay with assuming it's Argentina. So I'm going to go ahead and update Argentina real quick. I'll speed you through this while I update this one. All right, so Argentina is now updated. And then we have This Is a Love Story, which takes place in New York. And it's very, very New York. So I will go ahead and fill in New York and speed you through this. All right, so we've updated New York and we are pretty much good with this challenge. Let's go ahead and move on. So I did discover 2 new 5-star reads, and that was This Is a Love Story and 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered. So both of these are now going to be part of this collection. So let's go ahead and add those there. And so I'm very excited. 3 months of the year, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5 stars, which is not bad. I think that's actually pretty good. Pretty good. So now we're going to move on to the Tackle Your TBR. So let's see if any of these can fulfill some of these requirements. So we're going to go to new release. I think we can do This Is a Love Story. Let's see if there's anything else I would want to put it under. Oh, we could also do it for This Is a Love Story for long title. We could do it for that too, and maybe I can save the new release one. Okay, so I think I will do that. So this will be number 16. And we'll put for number 16, This Is a Love Story. And I read that one from 326 to 326 as well. That was a very quick one-day read. I told you I could not stop reading that. And then let me go ahead and mark it down. That's a 5-star. So next we have Tender is the Flesh. It's before 2020. It's 2017, isn't it? Yeah. So maybe I could put that for that. So I'll go ahead and mark it for here. So we'll put 37. Tender is the Flesh. And then I read that 321 to 330. And it was 4.5. All right. And then 101 books to read for a new author. That'll be number 44. Okay. And I read that. That took me forever to get to, simply because it's one of those that I read a couple pages at a time. I do that a lot with anthologies. I also do it with collections of short stories or poetry. It's something I go to in between reads. And that was a 5-star read. Bibliophile. Colorful cover. I think I'm definitely going to use it for that. 27. And that one, let's put some dates on there. And I did give it 4 stars. And lastly, Listen to Your Sister. It does have multiple POV, so I think I'm going to do that. So it's going to be right here. Listen to your sister. And I'll go ahead and put some dates. And sadly, just 1 star. All right, so that updates the Tackle Your TBR game. New month, new favorite. So I get to update this as well. And my favorite book of the month was This Is a Love Story. So I'm going to go ahead and select that as my March favorite. Okay, so there's my March favorite. I also have to update the bracket for March. I need to print out another one of these, so I'll go ahead and do that a little bit later. And then I'll have to select which of these 3 is my favorite. So I need to actually think about that for a little bit before I commit to that. So once I pick my favorite of these 3, that'll end up right here. And you'll see that in the middle of the month or the ending of the month check-in. Top 10 books for 2025. Too early for that yet. So now we're going to go to marking off some of the things that I have read and highlighting those and adding some things to my April TBR. So that's going to take us a little bit. I'll go ahead and update you on that momentarily. All right, so I went ahead and updated this with my 12 reads. Now let me see if I could complete bingo. I had already put Spy Family 1. So let's see, a book that takes place in a coffee shop. I don't think any of these count. A book with new or fresh in the title. A book set in a garden or a park. I'm going to put set in a park because This Is a Love Story has such a large presence of Central Park. There are actual entire chapters that are dedicated to Central Park. So yeah, I think that's a perfect choice for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put here, This Is a Love Story. A book about love and relationships blooming. A book with a disabled character. A book with multiple POVs. We're going to go ahead and use Listen to Your Sister for that. Okay. A book featuring a road trip or journey. Not really. But a book about love and relationships blooming. I think I'm going to put Spy Family 2 because in volume 2, they're really working together as a family and they're growing to love and appreciate each other as a family. So I think I like that. So Spy Family 2 will go in here. Okay, and then I think that's really all I can do. So it seems like we have bingo going this way and we have bingo going this way. So I got bingo twice. Better than last month. I think I only got it once. January was really good for bingo. Okay, so that updates the March. Now I'm going to go ahead and update my April TBR. So that's going to take me a minute. So I'll go ahead and fast forward you through all of this so you can watch me do that. we are back, guys. Wow. I am a little bit ambitious for my April TBR. If you saw that video, you already know that there's a lot of possibilities of things that I want to read. I am participating in Old School April. I'm also participating in April being National Poetry Month, so I am going to try to read a couple poetry collections, so that should be fun. So we're going to go ahead and skip now to the overall stats. So I'm going to go ahead and try to fill these in for the month of March. So I read a total of 2,468 pages. I read a total of 12 books. The total number of novels, let me go back real quick for that stat. The total number of novels is 5. Novellas, I don't really have any because that middle grade is not going to count as that. For mangas, I have a total of 3. My average rating for this month was 3.875. So last month it was 4.07. The January was 3.2. So we're somewhere in between there, which is not bad. Familiar authors, there were 6 of them. Actually, new authors. Is that new authors? Right, new authors, there were 6. Familiar authors, there were 4. I read a few things by the same author, so that's why the numbers really don't always line up. New releases, I had 2 of them. Kindle reads, I had 2 of them. Audio reads, I had 2. Combo reads, I had 2. And I had 8 things that were solely physical. So those are my stats for the month of March. Let's see how book bingo is going to go. So a book with over 600 pages. I did not read that. A book everyone has read except for you. I'm definitely going to be adding Tender is the Flesh for this because quite literally I feel like everyone has already read that. And it took me so long to read. A book with more than 2 authors, a book from Bookstagram. Well, I did find out about 101 horror books through Bookstagram because she's a person that I follow on Bookstagram. So that's going to be number 15. Oh, let me do it in another color. So this will be 15. What a long title, huh? Okay. A book that has been banned. Okay, I don't know about that. A book that is a Newbery Award winner. A book that is considered a classic. A book set during World War II. A book written by a celebrity. A book by a local author. A book with a color on the title. And that's that. Okay, so that was the update for Book Bingo. Roll Your Read. I have not read The Wedding People yet, so that stays the same. And then let's see if there's any that I can update here with the thrillers. I think I only read 1 actual thriller this month. School Setting, Neighbors, Return to Hometown, Memory Loss, Lie in the Title, Trouble in Paradise, Toxic Friendship, Creepy Kid, Bad Guy Point of View, Unreliable Narrator. I think for Unreliable Narrator, I'm going to use Listen to Your Sister. And that's a horror book, but still, we can use it for that. Okay, perfect. No updates on the Oprah Book Club. I soft DNF'd this, and I was not interested in reading her second pick. I'm not sure if there's a third pick. I do have to go on the social media accounts to see the updates for book clubs. You'll see more of that soon. Same thing with the Good Morning America. So I have read this. These are still pending, but I will be reading them soon. These two I have not made any progress on. My middle grade March, I do have some things to update. So I did finish reading The Mystery Locked Rooms. Actually, I'm not going to update this here because I did finish this at the very beginning of April. So I want to hold off on giving you my rating for that until other videos come out for that. So this technically counts as an April read. So I'll leave that. And then I am just a little bit shy of finishing this, but I left it to count it for April, so I'll leave that too. This I'm also reading in April, and this I'm also reading in April. These will all be a part of Old School April reads, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of add those here. And I have a lot of plans of what I want to do for Old School April, and I'll show you very quickly, but this video is so long that I'm gonna leave this for another update. Basically, I've gone ahead and printed out all of the very cool trackers that they have put together for Old School April, and I will be adding those to my journal, but that's going to be quite the endeavor. So I think I'm going to do a video of just updating my reading journal for Old School April, and I'll do a video on just that. And you'll see that happening. And I also have to update my National Poetry Month for April. I have to update that, so I will add that to that video. And my husband and I are doing some buddy reads, so I have to update those pages as well. But seeing as this video is very lengthy already, I think I'm going to have to follow up on that in another video. So thank you guys for spending some cozy time with me updating my reading journal. This is such an important hobby of mine. It's as special to me as reading is. I just love tracking and documenting and looking back at my old journals and seeing the progress that I've made. It's also a wonderful artistic outlet for me. It's a great opportunity for me to use my washi tape and my stickers and all of that. So it is a lot of fun for me. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any specific reading journal videos you would like for me to film, and I would happily do that. I am a big fan of consuming reading journal videos as well. So if there's any kind of video that you have an idea for, please leave that as a comment down below. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me. I look forward to our next time together. Take care, guys. Bye.